I was just texting back and forth this morning with my half first cousin that I never knew I had until about 8 years ago. And 8 years ago, my youngest son had done Ancestry because there are two adoptions in my family. And when it came time for science class and, what are your genetics, I really couldn't tell them half of mine. And so, with that in mind, when my son turned 18, he went ahead and did Ancestry.com. Unfortunately, we couldn't figure out, we couldn't tease things out because my husband's DNA was in there too. So, a few months went by and he said, Mother, just do it. So, when I did, instantly popped up a half first cousin. And her last name is Jasmine. And her grandfather was my biological grandfather. And his last name was Jasmine. So I started to dig into that, of course, and Melanie and I have become amazingly beautiful friends. It's like we're long lost sisters or something. We can't stop holding hands when we're together. It's a beautiful thing. But I wanted to talk a little bit because Mother's Day is a fabulous holiday. It's a wonderful holiday. At the same time, it can be really complicated. Complicated on a lot of fronts. There can be adoptions. So you may feel this, if you're adopted, you may feel this pang like, I don't know my biological mother. There can be feelings around that. There can be feelings of sadness because your mom's gone. My mom passed away in 2005. She was only 68 and her mother lived to be 100, so we did not expect my mother to leave this planet as young as she did. And it really kind of threw our family into turmoil. My father just died of a broken heart 3 months later. So sadness can be an emotion that people feel today. Maybe you know someone or you yourself are estranged from your mother. There are a lot of people today, young people who are not creating relationships with their elders, and for a variety of reasons. Um, I talked to a young woman recently whose mother died of an overdose at 41. So her mother was a drug addict, and um, it's so there's all kinds of all kinds of situations, and I just want to recognize that today because it's not the picture perfect Hallmark Mother's Day for a lot of people. It's a complicated one. If there's been a divorce, there can be complications there too, like where are the kids going to be and what's going on. And something struck me back when my kids were small. We had a wonderful babysitter whose parents had recently divorced, and um, I noted something then. I'd be driving her back to her house, but was I driving her to her dad's house or her mom's house? And she goes, "Oh shoot, I forgot something in my dad's bedroom." So like she didn't have her room anymore. She had her room at her dad's house, her room at her mom's house. And I had never thought about that before, how complicated that could be. Like she's got to have something for school, but she left it at the other house, which was quite a ways away, right? So all kinds of little complications around Mother's Day. And I just want to acknowledge that and again take it right to pressure free, and notice if you're starting to feel the tension, because no matter what, on this beautiful day, this gorgeous here in Michigan, going out for my walk in a moment, this beautiful Sunday, um, no matter what has happened in your mother relationships, maybe you're a mother and your child is estranged from you, and that's giving you a lot of pain. I just encourage you to put a hand on your heart and be good to yourself today. If you are a mother, like be really good to yourself today. We actually celebrated Mother's Day a couple weeks ago because my eldest was going to be with his new mother-in-law in Florida. And so the one night we could find that we could all get together, and that my son was in town too. So it all worked out really great. My other son. So what does Hugh say? My eldest says, Mother's Day is every day, the first time that we couldn't all be together on this particular day. And I just love that because, we got these Hallmark holidays, I call them, days when people exchange cards and days, and it's like, well, we could just make any day that. So flexibility is one of the tools that we use as a family, as an entrepreneurial family. We are scattered across the country, sometimes in other countries, um, all the time. Like every week, if you pulled up our locator map, like it's like, oh, he's in Florida. Oh, he's in Boston. Oh, he's in California right now. And I'm here. Like we're all over the place. And so I think that celebrating every day and ha being flexible about when you might celebrate a holiday is very, very helpful. Um, Focusing too on positive memories versus the negative memories, it can be very easy to fall into a continual downward spiral of remembering terrible things instead of remembering the good. And then in your own behavior, like what are your values for how you treat other people? Are you being kind or are you being critical? One of the things I hear from so many of my clients is that they feel that someone in the family, maybe it's the mother, but someone in the family is just hypercritical. And they felt that their whole life and they felt that they've never been able to measure up. And it started very early in childhood. So I have a book called Pressure Free Parenting. It's right here. So if you're interested, I have one mom coach on the East Coast that think that this is the greatest parenting book she's ever read, and she has read a ton. So Pressure-Free Parenting, I think her review is on Amazon. These books are on Amazon. And my parenting book is in three parts. The first part, I share the method right up front for you. So you can learn what this method is. I actually created kind of a cool graphic too. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. So I created a graphic. Let's show this here on the screen since I think it's coming up right. Um, Targets, triggers, tools. And for those of you who follow me, you know the Ferris wheel is the starter tool. So for targets, like you could write your targets on all the little cars of the Ferris wheel. And then down below here, the triggers. I had these little pointy circle things going in, like you're in the middle, and all these things are pricking you. They're causing you to trigger the stress response. And then tools, and I just wrote a few of the tools here. In my books, I have about 14 tools. In my full course, I have over 50 that I teach my clients. So it's a constant creation, if you will, of these things. So then the second thing I do in here is I take Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I take a look and see, are we hitting on these needs? For example, I was coaching someone who was a very conscientious parent and had their child in some early childhood programs, early immersion programs for language, but they were a corporate worked in the corporate world, and but they weren't really feeding their kids good foods. Like it would just be like cereal at night just because they were so busy, or fast food through the drive-through because there's not enough time to get to soccer practice, or so the basic need of nutrition was kind of missing. So if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I take you through that and say, okay, so are you hitting on these basic needs and then going up? Are you hitting on helping them become self-actualized humans? Um, I think one of the greatest moments as a parent of my life was when my youngest was salutatorian at Columbia in New York. And as they read his words to describe his growing up, he said he had parents who, from a very early age, um, gave him independence and trust. Like we trusted him at a very early age. He was very independent. He started his IRA at 16 and was making his own money. I didn't pay for his glasses or his contacts or um, even dental appointments. Like very quickly, he was assuming all of those responsibilities. And sometimes I think we don't give children a chance to really blossom in their independence early enough. Certainly, if you go back in time, people were becoming more mature much faster than we do today. So I think that's interesting. So that is in here. And then the last part of this book are age-specific stressors. So I go from pregnancy to legacy, age-specific stressors. So this might be a wonderful little book for you. If you want just a PDF of it, you can go to my site and click the books blog vlog page, and then there's another button to push, and you will get to $5 off the Amazon price if you just want a PDF of this book or either of my books. So that's pressure-free parenting. I just wanted to bring that forward today because it's a special parenting day. Um, I have three sons. It's been a magical journey with those sons. Again, just we had a couple of real key tenets, my husband and I, in our foundation for how we wanted to raise our children. And the number one I would say is mutual respect, respect between us. And that certainly has played out in legacy as my sons are now young adults. To close out, I want to share some thoughts that I have. When I think about, I was just in Boston walking around and, sorry, I was just in Boston walking around thinking of my relatives who walked around there. So my father was born in Boston. My grandmother on my mother's side was born in Boston. My grandfather was born in Boston of a woman who gave him up for adoption. And and then my great grandparents, who are my adoptive great grandparents, um, and even a step grandparent in there, they are buried in Auburn Cemetery, but they lived in Somerville and right across the Cambridge border. So they were walking around there all the time. Their church was the church right next to Harvard. Um, so I was walking around just thinking about my ancestors and the people that came before me. And then I was up in the mountains and I was thinking about my grandmother, my grandparents, just all of it. And I thought about my dad's mother. So my dad's mother grew up in New Hampshire, went to Boston to nursing school, and came back with a 6-week-old baby in her arms. Now, a few things could have happened. Her parents might have said, "You need to give this baby up for adoption." They didn't do that. They took her in. So I think about my great grandmother, not at all, I guess maybe she was some. I never could talk to her. She was had passed, but just taking this child in, this baby in, and my grandmother and saying, "No, you're going to live here." And I just think that that was so beautiful, that it made for a wonderful childhood for my father with his grandparents there, and then my grandmother married and he adopted my dad and changed his name. And his name was Neddy Lee McClellan when he was born and was turned to John Frederick Sterrett. And dad never knew his biological father, never knew, was only told that he wasn't a very nice man. Melanie confirmed that, by the way. Um, and then I think about it would be my great grandmother who had become pregnant and went to Boston. I actually wondered if they were in the same little hospital for unwed mothers. Um, and she gave up her baby. And probably her whole life just kind of wondered where that baby was, right? Um, and I doubt that she knew, though there was a doctor in Worcester, Mass, I believe, um, or maybe it was Keene, who wrote to my great grandparents wondering about the health of the child because he cared about the child. I need to dig into that a little more, but I'm bringing that forward because there's always somebody who cares. There's always somebody who cares about a child, And and so maybe it wasn't your mother that gave you the caring that you need. Maybe it was your father, maybe it was a guardian, maybe it was a grandparent or a teacher or a professor or a coach, but there was someone who deeply cared about your well-being. And if there isn't, please reach out to me, okay? Because I truly believe that everyone needs at least one person in their court, one person who cares unconditionally about them. And I think that's the greatest gift a mother or a parent, person can give to another human is unconditional love and support. So I'll close on that and I'll wish you a beautiful Mother's Day. I should say pressure free, right? Bye.